Swiggity swoo, how'd you do guys? This is Kid Pancham and I'm back again guys with another video, and today guys I'm going to be bringing you a team build and analysis of the team I have been using for the current few episodes of Pokemon Showdown sessions, where I've actually been using a Trick Room team mixed with a Charizard Y, and it's a really powerful team guys, and I basically just want to make a bit of an analysis on the different sets I use on the Pokemon, why I use them, and just some all round, tips if you ever want to make this team. So obviously to make the team we had to start off with two Pokemon. These Pokemon sort of in order of how I put them into the team. Basically I decided to use Charizard, Cresselia and Nidoking as my three starting Pokemon. You might be able to see Gothitelle here because Gothitelle did in fact get changed for Cresselia only like a few episodes ago. Well, no, actually 2 episodes ago or 1 episode, and only because it gets a Shadow Tag ability. I'll get into that in a minute, but basically we're going to be starting off with Charizard Y. It did have the ability Blaze, which was fantastic, which really didn't do much, and we did give it the Charizard Y just because we need to Mega Evolve. Decided to give it Blaze over Solar Power because we didn't need any of the abilities, as its Mega Form does get Drought. So onto the moveset, I really wanted this guy just to have as much fire power as possible. I knew I wanted to make him bulky to survive different attacks. I'll explain it in a little bit. But basically I said Heat Wave isn't going to do the job here, and Flamethrower was the perfect job for it. Flamethrower actually has 90 base power and 100 accuracy, just like Heat Wave. It has a 10% chance to burn. You might be thinking, well, Heat Wave does the same. It has 10% less accuracy, but it hits both opponents. Heat Wave, however, doesn't actually do 90 damage. Since it hits both opponents, it takes away like 25%, I think it is. So really it's not doing too much. In the sun, yeah, of course it's still doing a fantastic amount of damage, but it means that I can get affected by Wide Guy, and also Aegislash does lift Flamethrower from Charizard with Heat Wave and 84 EVs in special attack. So I decided to go with Flamethrower because I thought Flamethrower was just the best option. Next we went for Hidden Power Ground. Beforehand this was actually Overheat. I decided to go with Hidden Power Ground just to give myself a chance against Charizard X, as well as Heatran. Heatran was a big trouble for Charizard, and you know what, Hidden Power Ground just gave me a bit of momentum, and it was such a good move in some situations just to take out my opponent's Pokemon when I didn't even realise it. So I thought Hidden Power Ground was a really good call, and I really enjoyed using it. Next we go with Solar Beam, an attack you don't normally see on a fire type Pokemon, but we did use Solar Beam because it's just all around fantastic. Solar Beam is a grass type move. It hits water types, rock types and ground types. No, saying that, ground types don't really affect this Pokemon, but likewise it hits rock types and water types, which is basically Charizard's weaknesses. Obviously you get the electric typing, which Hidden Power Ground I guess does cover, but to be honest Flamethrower is a better call against a Manectric. So we had Protect as our last move just because Protect, is a move that you sort of want on any sort of Mega Pokemon if needed. Protect is just one of those moves that I really like to run because it just lets you scout out and protect your Pokemon. Onto the EV spread here, you can actually see 252 in HP, 148 in defense, 84 in special type, and 24 in special defense with a modest nature. The reasoning behind Charizard Y having a modest nature instead of quiet nature is because Trick Room wasn't a thing that I wanted to run completely, so I think by making this guy modest would mean that I would be able to function outside of Trick Room and not get outsped by everything in the meta game. Also, if I wanted to just outspeed Landorus or Kangaskhan, I could then go into Trick Room and then just put a lot of damage in. So 252 in HP and 148 in defense actually means that I can survive a rock side from Adamant Landorus that isn't Life Orb or Choice Banded or even Expert Belt. It just has 252 in attack with an Adamant nature. It also survives a double edge from Adamant Kangaskhan or Jolly Kangaskhan. I can't remember one of the two, but it does, it does a really good job. I really enjoy using this guy, and I definitely recommend you actually try using the bulky set. I think I actually prefer the bulky set over the normal set. Well, at least I prefer the moveset over it anyway. So we did have 24 special defense. This didn't really do much apart from let me survive a Scourge from Ludicolo in the rain or Politoken, as I have the same base special attack. Obviously this is max special attack modest, which is a really nice thing just to have just in case, and I really enjoyed using Charizard. So I definitely recommend that you do try using Charizard in Trick Room, even if it is just for, a couple battles, but I really did enjoy using him, and let's get straight on to the next Pokemon. So next on my team was Gothitelle. As you can see before, as I said before, this was a Cresselia, and Gothitelle was a Pokemon that I thought would actually have really good synergy with this team. For example, it gets the ability Shadow Tag, which means unless my opponent is a Ghost type, you can actually switch out, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and also if they have the ability themselves, which I thought was quite cool actually. So Aegislash and Gengar are the two primary, like, well, most seen ghost types, I think. Yeah, they are. And Shadow Tag means that I can actually keep most of my opponents in, and this would mean a really good thing, especially if I could get a Defiant Boost on Bishop, as you can see over there. And also it would be great just so Charizard can get constant flamethrowers off without my opponent having to switch out. And also I can go for a Helping Hand there, as you can see on this moveset. It also meant that Ferrothorn could set up Leech Seed, and my opponent wouldn't be able to switch me, and Ferrothorn would just, like, you know, be wearing down my opponent's team like no other, which would be a fantastic trait. I did have Citrus Berry on Gothitelle. Rocky Helmet was a thing that I did consider. On my Crusader, I did actually have Rocky Helmet Moonlight, because Moonlight requires 75% HP in the sun, which was fantastic, but I just thought Gothitelle had a bit more synergy. If I probably had to choose out the two, I might go back to Crusader, just because, you know, Gothitelle Shadow Tag really didn't come into use, but I only used it for about 6 games, so you never know. I need to give this guy a bit more of a chance. Yeah, so I really like Gothitelle. Onto the moveset, I did go with Psychic, just because it's stab, and I think you always sort of need a stab, on a support Pokemon, even if it is like Prankster. You just, you know, you need an attacking move just to help you out. So I did have Helping Hand notes as before. This just helps Ferrothorn get the Yoko on Kangaskhan, helps Conkeldurr get the Yoko on Kangaskhan with Drain Punch. It helps Bishop out a lot. Sucker Punch, well, +1 Sucker Punch with Helping Hand from Bishop does Oko Salamence with 4 HP. It also meant that Nidoking can get Ice Beams onto Thundurus and Landorus quite a lot, and as I said before, Charizard could then do a lot of damage as well. We had Trick Room as our next move. This is sort of mandatory for Gothitelle, as this is a half Trick Room team. Trick Room was a really nice move to have, and I really did enjoy it. Trick Room is one of those things that many people can't use very well. I felt I was able to optimize it really well, only using it when I needed to, and to be honest, most of the time I only really set up Trick Room late game, because I let sort of like Conkeldurr and Ferrothorn deal with like half my opponent's team, let Gothitelle come in, get up a Trick Room, and then I was just sorted after that. And as our last move, we did have Heal Pulse. Heal Pulse was an odd move that maybe I might change in the future, maybe for like Grass Knot, for example, just to deal with something like Swampert or just Gastrodon. Heal Pulse was one of those moves that I actually used a couple times for my Ferrothorn and Conkeldurr primarily, and I think I used it on Charizard once, where actually Heal Pulse, as it came on the Switch, meaning it got a lot of HP back, meaning it could take more hits, obviously. So that's about it for Gothitelle's moveset, and onto the EV spreads. Basically on this guy, I really wanted just to take as many physical hits as possible. Obviously I had Ferrothorn with some special defense investment, Conkeldurr with the Assault Vest, so special defense wasn't really something I was too frail on, with, so I decided to go a lot on defense. Basically this guy survives a, I think it's a 3-hit knockout on a double edge from a Jolly Kangaskhan. I think it might even be a 4-hit knockout on a Jolly Return. I had 44 special defense here. Basically 44 special defense let me survive a Shadow Ball from Life Orb Aegislash with max special attack and modest. The HP obviously is 252 because I think that's what I needed, and yeah, so I really enjoyed using Gothitelle, and I definitely recommend you use her or him depending on the gender, of course. So Gothitelle is a really nice Pokemon, guys, and let's get straight on to the next Pokemon, which is actually going to be Nidoking with the Choice Scarf. You might be saying, well, if this is a Trick Room team, why are you running Choice Scarf? Nidoking was a really cool anti-Metamon that I had been laying off breeding for the whole season because I didn't think I'd ever get to use it. I actually only recently just bred one, and I kept using it in Showdown just because I preferred it over Landorus, just for, like, you know, classiness. Like, let's be honest, Nidoking is so much cooler than Landorus, and you know what, it gets all the elemental beams, which is fantastic. It gets access to Sludge Bomb and Earth Power, which does so much damage to like half the meta, which is absolutely fantastic. So Choice Scarf was my item of choice just to outspeed Landorus, and you know what, I don't regret using Choice Scarf once. Life Orb could have been an option, and now I could replace Fire Blast with Protect, but you know what, I definitely prefer Choice Scarf just because it was so great getting the Oko on the Landorus on first turn if they switched it or if they brought it in, which is fantastic. It did have the ability Sheer Force, as it's really its only good ability. Rivalry and Poison Point are pretty, you know, tragic on Nidoking, but Sheer Force meant that this Pokemon's, you know, quite low base special attack actually got quite a nice buff. So onto the moveset, I went with Sludge Bomb just for a bit of stab. It did really well against people like, well, Pokemon, sorry, like Sylveon, and also Gardevoir. I think it almost gets the Oko on Gardevoir. I'll have to do some damage counts on that. I think it has to be timid with no HP investment, or with 4 maybe in the HP. Next we have Earth Power here just to deal with Heat Rounds. Also it is Stab, deals really well against Heat Round, and also it just does good against any fire type. I really did enjoy using Earth Power on Nidoking, and I don't think I'd change it for anything else. We had the Ice Beam here, as I said before, just to outspeed Landorus and get that Ice Beam off, and it even does really well against Thundurus, because all Thundurus can really do is HP Ice and Swagger it. Obviously Thunderbolt and Thunder Wave don't affect this monster, so Ice Beam was really good because HP Ice wasn't doing nowhere near as much as Ice Beam, which is really good. For my last move, I was sort of considering Thunderbolt, only because I didn't really have an electric type, but I decided to go with Fire Blast, which is a move I didn't really use much at all. Fire Blast was basically a move I thought, wow, this could go great on a Sun team, because obviously Fire Blast is going to be doing 110 damage with the 50% boost from Sun, which made it do a lot of damage. Easily, I could have gone with something a lot different, maybe something like, I'm not sure, Seismic Toss, no. Really anything, like, to be honest, Super Fang could have been a good move, even something like, you know, like Taunt, even just, you know, to catch my opponents off guard. So Fire Blast wasn't a move that I really liked. I did put it on low, and it did come into use once or twice against, say, an Amoonguss. I think it almost gets the Oko on Amoonguss in the Sun, which is fantastic. Onto the EV spread, obviously it's just a very basic EV spread. I went with 252 in a special attack, 252 in speed with 4 in special defense. This should actually be in 4 HP. Well, if you're going to make this team, guys, then I'd recommend doing that. But yeah, I really enjoyed using Nidoking, and you know what, it was a fantastic Pokemon that I really like to use. Hang on. So also, if you're going to do this, also make that 248 and that. Oh wait, no, that's not optimizing the EV spreads actually. Hang on. So that would go 44, yep, and then I'd probably put 4 in special attack. Yep, I'd do something like that. Basically, guys, you want to keep an even number on Citrus Berry Pokemon, because if you get Super Fan, then that activates your Citrus Berry, which is really nice. However, with most Pokemon, you sort of want it to be odd, as it should be here on this Bishop, with an adamant nature, of course. Sorry, this is really bad organization, but let's roll with it. So that's Nidoking for you guys. I really liked using Nidoking. To be honest, Landorus is probably a better option. It's just, you know, it gets Intimidate. Best Pokemon in the meta, in my opinion. Well, no, actually Kangaskhan is, in my opinion. Landorus is definitely up there. Like, I wouldn't actually class it second, to be honest. Maybe like third. But yeah, I definitely recommend you using Nidoking to deal with Landorus and Thundurus. And it was just a nice Pokemon to have. So onto our 4th Pokemon of the team. Wow, we're almost 13 minutes in. We've gone with Ferrothorn here with the leftovers and Iron Barb's ability. So Ferrothorn was a Pokemon that I thought, well, I need something that's like 4 times weak to fire. Well, not 4 times weak to fire, but I need something to counter rain. Ferrothorn just shouted at me, and also it meant that, like, you know, not much could touch it. Obviously, if my opponent wanted to use a fire type attack against me, then they could, but I can always switch into something like, you know, Charizard, or even Conkeldurr that gets the Assault Vest. And Ferrothorn is just a really nice Pokemon that I really enjoyed using, and actually won me a couple games. So with this guy, I went with Power Whip. Oh, sorry, no, let's get on to the item. I chose Leftovers over Rocky Helmet because I thought getting HP regeneration was a lot more important than going for, you know, a lot of recoil damage with Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet. I chose Iron Barb, obviously, because this is probably the best ability it gets. On turn move, so we went with Power Whip here instead of something like Seed Bomb. Power Whip just absolutely amazing. 85 accuracy is its only downside, but I definitely prefer using Power Whip over something like Seed Bomb. Next we have Gyro Ball. Since this Pokemon is so slow, then Gyro Ball just does so much damage to any Pokemon. I really enjoyed using Gyro Ball, and there's not really much I can say about this. It's Stab, obviously, does a lot of damage to Gardevoir and Sylveon, which is fantastic. Onto our 3rd move, we went with Leech Seed just to get some HP regeneration. Ferrothorn's a really simple Pokemon to use. Setting up Leech Seed and Power and just spamming Gyro Ball and Power is fantastic. You just need to know when to choose the correct move. I went with Leech Seed on this guy over something like Curse, because I thought Leech Seed would do a lot more damage. Well, a lot more use to me. Onto our 4th move, we went with Protect. Protect was just there to scout out, get HP regeneration from Leech Seed and Leftovers, which was pretty cool. So onto the EV spreads, I went with something quite different. I wanted to make this guy as powerful as possible, so I went with a Brave Nature, obviously. Made it minimum speed possible, 0 IVs in speed, and also a minor speed nature. I went with 252 in HP just to optimize as much HP into it, also have as much bulk as possible. 160 in attack, which meant that, we did a lot of damage. Helping Hand, Gyrable, actually Oko's Kangaskhan, which is fantastic. We went with 24 in defense because I didn't think this Pokemon needed much more of a buff to its defense because it's absolutely fantastic in that area. And also we went with 116 in special defense because I thought we needed to take a few more special hits than physical. We had Conkeldurr for the special side of things. No, sorry, we had Gothitelle for the physical sides of things, so I thought taking like a Scald or an Icewind would be a lot better and a lot more efficient to me. So that's basically Ferrothorn, guys. I really love using this guy and I definitely recommend you using him. On to our fourth Pokemon, we went with Conkeldurr, which was originally a Gastrodon. The reason I changed to Conkeldurr is because I felt that I had a big trouble against Kangaskhan, and Conkeldurr really just did, it gave me a really good matchups a lot of the time. So we went with Conkeldurr with the Assault Vest, which is kind of average, but the ability here is actually a bit different. I decided to go with Iron Fist over Sheer Force because Drain Punch and Mach Punch, no, Helping Hand Drain Punch gets the Oko onto Kangaskhan with Iron Fist. If this guy had a Life Orb, then Mach Punch and Helping Hand would as well, which is fantastic. But I decided to go with Drain Punch because, you know what, Iron Fist just gave me that bit more damage output, and also not many people are ballsy enough to actually Scald Burn or to Will-O-Wisp Conkeldurr. Only people who actually know that I'm running Iron Fist would, which made it really good for me because most people were like really petrified of even touching Conkeldurr with even a Scald. So I decided to go with Iron Fist because I thought it was just a psychological threat that it faced with the Guts ability as an option. So onto the moveset, I went with Mach Punch and Drain Punch. Mach Punch, since this Pokemon's so slow, you want a bit of priority. Mach Punch gave me this. It's also Stab, which is fantastic. Drain Punch next, just to get HP regeneration. I think this is this guy's best fighting type move. Like, you get Brick Break, but that's not really fantastic. Superpower, I guess that's what it gets. But Drain Punch is there just for a bit of HP regeneration. You want Conkeldurr to stay around as long as possible, where Superpower wouldn't let it. Obviously, it lowers its defense and attack, which is a bit of a problem. For our third move, we went with Ice Punch just to have that 10% chance of freeze. No, I'm joking. It's not really to have that 10% chance of freeze. We chose Ice Punch just to deal with Landorus and Thunderous, basically. Also, I guess you could count Tornadus, but Tornadus can do a lot more damage to Conkeldurr. But yeah, I chose Ice Punch. On to our fourth move, I went with Rock Slide over Knockoff. Knockoff was a move I considered running just to deal with Cresselia, but I thought Cresselia's going to do so much damage to Conkeldurr anyway that Rock Slide would do something really good for me. Obviously, it would let me get the Oko onto Charizard and I guess Talonflames if it switches in. Also, just gives me a spread move that in Trick Room obviously gives me a fast Rock Slide, always just gives me a chance to roll that RNG and potentially get a flinch, which is fantastic. So this is Conkeldurr for you guys, and yeah, I really enjoyed using him. I definitely enjoyed him much more than Gastrodon, because Gastrodon was only a Pokemon that I brought against rain matchups, and I never really went up against rain on Showdown. So Conkeldurr was a much better medical, and to be honest, I felt it still did a decent job against rain. So here are the EV spreads. Basically, I decided for this guy to go with 248 in HP and 252 in attack, with 8 in special defense. Hang on, is this optimizing spread? So 86. Okay, no, so what I would do here is that I would go 4 in defense and 4 in special defense. So I went with an adamant nature instead of brave, just because I didn't think brave nature was really necessary. Onto the EVs, I actually went with 252 in attack with like max attack possible, just because I wanted as much damage output as possible, and I really felt that Conkeldurr did a really good job of this. The 252 in HP is just to max out my bulk, which I really enjoyed using, and the 4 in defense and special defense is just to optimize EV spreads. So on to our last Pokemon, we went with Life Orb Bishop, a Pokemon that, was a bit of a hit and miss. Sometimes he won me games, sometimes, he just went down straight away. But you know what, all around I really did enjoy using Bishop. I always use Life Orb over Focus Sash because I feel that Focus Sash just sometimes misses out on mere knockouts that, Life Orb would have got. And I really enjoyed using Life Orb overall. I won't define as its ability because, inner focus of pressure isn't needed. Define, if you did not know, means that this Pokemon's attack is raised where each stat is lowered. So if your opponent comes in with an Icy Wind and you predict that, you can then get the Defiant boost, put you at +2 attack with a Sucker Punch that has a high base power, which is absolutely fantastic. So onto the moves, we went Knockoff, which does a 1.45 more has 65 base power and 100 accuracy, and it gets 1.5 times more damage output if the those holding an item. Obviously this doesn't come from Mega Stones, so it's still doing 65 base power without the Mega Stones. So really it's doing 97.5 damage if the opponent is holding a item, which is fantastic. I really like knockoff, just the knockoff items of course, that did a real good job against Cresselia, and also just did a real good job against Pokemon in general, like well, just generally Pokemon that needed that item. We went with Sucker Punch for our next move just for a bit of priority. It is Stab again. It usually goes first, but it fails if the target is not attacking, so if they go for a Will-O-Wisp instead. Next we had Iron Head. This is Stab once again. Has a 30% chance of flinch, which is fantastic, and I really enjoyed using Iron Head. And for our last move we went for a Protect, just a Scout out. This Pokemon's really frail, weak to a lot of things, so you sort of want to keep it around for as long as possible. On to the EV spreads, I went with 4 in HP, 252 in attack, and 252 in speed with an adamant nature. Looking at the stats of Bishop, you wouldn't think it's much, but it's really its Defiant ability that sells it. I really enjoyed using him, and yeah, so that's basically all I have. So that's it guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. It took me a little while to do, obviously 20 minutes in, and I've just finished. I hope you guys did actually enjoy the commentary of what, like, the style I've done this in. I really enjoyed making it, and yeah, so thank you so much for watching guys. So thanks for watching guys, go check out my other content, and for now Pancham people, goodbye.